Hello, my crafty friends. Well, today we are going to take a simple fun fold card and we are going to give it a fun little twist. Hi, it's Lynn Dunn from Stamptastic Designs. Thanks so much for joining me today. In this episode of Stamptastic TV, I have 3 different card ideas that I want to share with you, which feature what is called a twisted easel. Now, the cards actually are a bookbinding card. So if you haven't seen my video on how to create this bookbinding card, I have linked to it in the description below this video. So this is a basic bookbinding card, but it has a little twist. So I'm going to show you how to create this fun little easel card, this twisted easel, from just the basic bookbinding card. Now the cards in this video feature the Sending Cheer bundle from Stampin Up. So this particular bundle has a variety of just adorable little images for actually creating tags, but I like to use them to create cards. And this is where you have all those fun little tag die cut shapes that you can easily turn into little focal points or little decorations for your cards. All right, so this is the card that I am going to show you how to make. I'm going to show you how to make this twisted easel card, and it's very simple. So just so you are aware, you can either make it as just a bookbinding card. This is just a regular bookbinding card. So it's the same layout basically, but then this one has that little twist where you can prop it up by this little element which is on the inside of the card. So you can stand it up for display, or you can lay it flat for ease in mailing. So let me show you the template for creating this card. All right, so you're going to start with a 4 1/4 by 11 inch piece of cardstock, and I am using some of the pecan pie cardstock. You can use whatever cardstock you want to. Any color, any supplies will work with this particular layout and design. So we're going to start by just scoring it at 4 1/4 inches. So I have the 11 inch side at the top. I'm going to line up the edge here at 4 1/4 inches, and we're just going to make a score line. And then we're going to scoot this down to 5 1/2 inches, and we're going to make another score line. So the next thing you want to do is just take this out of your paper trimmer, and I'm just going to fold on these score lines so that you get an idea of how this works. So this is a bookbinding card. So basically this little section here in between the 4 1/4 and 5 1/2 inch score lines, this will get adhered down to the card. So it just kind of makes a smaller inside for your card. So it's called bookbinding because this little section binds or adheres to the card. So the only way you open it is with this. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this section right here. This is a 4 1/4 inch section. So it's 4 1/4 by 4 1/4. And what you want to do is you want to score from this score line here, from the bottom here, diagonally up to the corner. So that's why I recommend just kind of taking this out after you make those first 2 score lines. Take it out, kind of fold on the score lines so you know where they are, and find that 4 1/4 inch section. So we are just going to turn this sideways, and I'm going to line up the score line here in my paper trimmer. And then I need to line up the tip or the corner of this 4 1/4 inch section. So let's line up the corner and the score line here, and then we're just going to score. We're going to score diagonally. All right, so now you have your bookbinding, but you also have this diagonal score line. So when you fold on the score line, it creates a fun little easel section for your card. And so that is what we are going to decorate today. All right, so the first thing we want to do is we want to adhere this part of the card base down. So I'm going to add glue on the inside. So this is the inside of the card, and it's between those 2 score lines. And we're just going to adhere this down so that we can create that bookbinding section of the card. All right, so once you have this section right here adhered down to the card, you're ready to decorate it. So the first thing that I did is I just cut a 4 by 4 inch piece of white cardstock and I just embossed it with the Christmas Tidings embossing folder. You can use any embossing folder that you want. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to adhere it just to this bottom section here. So here's that diagonal score line. So I just want the bottom part of my white cardstock to be adhered to this section. So I'm going to add some glue. And this piece is a 1/4 inch shorter than this section. So this whole square section is 4 1/4 by 4 1/4. So this is 4 by 4. And so we are just going to line this up and leave a little bit of matting. So we want a little bit of that pecan pie kind of showing through. And I'm just going to adhere this down. All right, so what you will notice is that I only adhered that bottom section, just this bottom part here. So the top part of this just kind of hangs free. You can see that it's not adhered to the card base. But it does lay flat for mailing and it does have a really nice matting around it. Okay, the next thing I did is I just cut a piece of designer paper at 1 by 4 inches. So I'm just using some of the Glorious Gingham. So this is the pecan pie color. And I'm just adhering it to that little bookbinding section. So that little 1 1/4 inch section over here. So I just have a 1 by 3 1/4 inch piece of early espresso cardstock and then just a 2 by 2 3/4 inch piece of that gingham. And so I just created kind of a little place for my focal point. So I'm just adhering those two pieces together, and then we will adhere this to our card front. All right, the next thing I did is just cut a 1/4 inch wide by 4 inch piece of early espresso cardstock, and I'm just going to add this to the left side of the card. And then I just created some little gingerbread men. So I have one for the front, so I'm just popping this little guy up with some dimensionals here on the front. And then I just added a little greeting. So I used one of the greetings from the set that says Sending Cheer. I basically just stamped this on a scrap piece of white cardstock using early espresso ink. And then I just cut out the words so that I could adhere it separately to the card. And then the last thing that I did on the front of the card is I just added some little die cut hearts. So there's little hearts in this particular bundle that you can use to decorate your card. So I'm going to add one of these. I'm just adding them with a glue dot. You can also use the really small hearts to decorate the little gingerbread man. So that's the basic design. And then I added a little bit of linen thread over here. But what I want to show you is how I created this easel so that it stands up in this position. So now that we have the front decorated, let's open this up. And on the inside, we have this 4 1/4 by 4 1/4 inch section. So that's where I'm going to put another piece of white cardstock. So this is just a 4 by 4 inch piece, same size that I used on the front. The only difference is, of course, I'm not embossing it. So we're just going to add this on the inside. All right, so now that we have that added, we can add another little gingerbread guy on the inside. So I just have him popped up with some dimensionals, and I'm just going to adhere him towards the bottom right side of the inside of the card. And then what this does is this enables us to open the card, and the easel section of the card will just rest against that little gingerbread guy on the inside of the card. And you still have plenty of room in here to stamp a greeting or write a message, add additional decorations if you want, but I just thought it was kind of a really cute little card and just kind of a fun way to add a little twist to your card making this holiday season. All right, so that is the gingerbread guy, and here's what my initial card looks like. I just have the little linen thread added to this side, but you don't necessarily need the linen thread. You could add some embellishments down this little section if you wanted to. So super cute and very simple to do. So let me show you the other card ideas. So here is the Santa hat version of this twisted easel card. So I just put a little Santa hat on the inside. Of course, I decorated the outside with a Santa hat as well. The measurements for creating the card base, you know, this little easel card base, are exactly the same. The only difference is that I just changed out the colors that I was using, and I changed out the layout on the front a little bit. All right, and the last card idea features the stocking die cut shape from this particular bundle, from the Sending Cheer bundle. So I, again, just changed the layout a little bit on the front, changed the colors, you know, to coordinate with the stocking. Still the same measurements for creating this card base, this twisted card base. But this time I decided to put the greeting on the inside instead of on the outside. So I thought it made a really nice spot for this easel to rest against. The stocking was a little bit too big to put on the inside to have it rest against, so that's why I just kind of switched it out. But same concept and just really a cute little card. Okay, so there you go. Now you have 3 different card ideas featuring the Twisted Easel Fun Fold card. And if you enjoyed these card ideas, feel free to download the printable tutorial. You can find the link in the description below this video. Thanks so much for joining me today. If you enjoyed this video, please let me know by liking it and sharing it with your friends. And leave me a comment below to let me know what you enjoyed most about the video and the cards shared here today. Have a fun and creative day, my friends. Take care.